former NBC 13 news anchor, who is now a comedian and published author. Ladies and gentlemen, offer a round of applause to Miss Eunice Elliott.
So when Olivia reached out and asked me what was the name of my talk, I said, don't be afraid to pivot. But I don't mean that. I don't mean that at all. Be afraid all the time and pivot anyway.
And throughout your life, you'll be presented with things that make you nervous and scared. And you do it nervous and scared.
Because I didn't stop trying because someone said no. I didn't stop trying because no one showed up. I didn't stop trying because it was hard.
So I have pivoted many times. And when I say pivot, I mean you start in one way and then you change direction. I've had several amazing opportunities in journalism, in communications to pivot. And what you learn is the world is always changing. Things change all the time. And you have to be able and available to change with things. And mostly for yourself. How many of you still love what you were doing 10 years ago? Or 5 years ago? I mean, Facebook memories can show me something I wore last week, and I'm like, for real though? Put that in the Goodwill bag. So I've always been open and available to pivot. And so the number one thing that people always say about me that is so untrue is that I'm fearless. And I am afraid all the time. And I do it anyway. And so somehow people think that you have to be unafraid to try new things. And I'm saying, if you're not afraid, it's not big enough. If you're not scared, it ain't the right thing. Be afraid and do it anyway. So we have a dream, we have a thought, and we go to the peak of what it could be. And so when we're in the valley, we don't realize that's part of the journey. That's part of the trip. So I have a habit of reaching my peaks and looking for the next valley, because that's where I really figure out who I am. That's when I really grow. That's when I really get to challenge myself. That's when I really get to figure out, like, what do I do best? Once you make it to the peak of what it is you're trying to do, at least for me, it gets boring.
To this day, anything I do, I have no idea how it's going to turn out. But I would rather try it than not try it. And everything that I try is not a success, and it doesn't have to be. So I want you to be afraid as you make this next step. Don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there.
My mother offered us the world through reading and through adventure. And that's what inspired me to write the book, 10 Things Your Mama Never Told You, but Mine Did. The subtitle is Unconventional Wisdom to Navigate a World That Cares Nothing About You or Your Feelings. My mom taught me at a very, very early age, don't nobody care about you like that.
We're actually here in my yoga room. By we, I mean me, but I'm so excited to be a part of Jack and Jill's Southeastern Region's Mom's Night Out. So thanks so much for having me. I will tell you up front, I am not a mom. I don't have any kids. And it's interesting because I come from a big family. I'm actually one of 4 siblings, and my grandma had 9 kids. She was married for 63 years to my granddad, and I thought maybe I could get some inspiration from her. Why did she start her family? And I said, Grandma, why'd you have such a large family? And she just looked at me lovingly and she said, baby, we didn't have no TV or no radio. So, alrighty. I was a morning news anchor for the NBC affiliate here, and I did that for about 6.5 years. From doing stand-up comedy, the television station saw some of my skits, and they said, hey, we'd love to add some personality to our morning show. Would you like to join the show as a traffic reporter? And of course, personality means black. And I said, yeah, I can do that. You're going to pay me to show up and be the black one every day? And so that went well.
You'll always have to kind of be the one in the room and say, hey, can I point something out real quick? I know I'm the only one here, so no one else would have thought of this. That's the other thing I really want to encourage you to do. I'm in a Facebook group with, it's like Black Women on TV, and sometimes we share what's going on at our station, some challenges. And one woman wrote something about, well, she didn't always want to be the one bringing up the black issues in the newsroom. And my answer is, that's why you're there, is to bring up the black issues in the newsroom. If you don't bring them up, nobody else is going to bring them up. So a lot of times, we do get tired. I always feel like we got to be championing the cause, but we are the cause. And it's not about being an angry black woman. It's just about being the black woman and saying, hey, I don't think we're thinking about this. Or, hey, I think we're not being sensitive enough to that. Or just bringing that. That's why you are in the room. Any room you're in. And I don't care who, if you're the only one in the room, you in the room to speak up and not just say, okay, well, I don't want to say nothing because I'm the only one. So, I got something to say as a black person. And you watch how quiet it get. Because they'll listen, because it's not a thought they would have had. And sometimes they're just grateful, you know, like, oh, you saved us a lot of troubles and emails because we did not think of that, you know? You know, it's really hard being a very headstrong teenager who knows everything and your mother knows nothing, and you get to live long enough and she gets to live long enough to have the ultimate I told you so when you write an entire book about her wisdom. So she won, I guess. And this is just an excerpt from the first chapter. You are so very special, but remember you ain't special. That may sound confusing, but it's really quite simple. My mom impressed upon me very early on that there was no one like me in the entire world. No one. She also impressed just as clearly upon me that no one cares. We're all one of a kind and special, and at the same time, no one is special. No one cares about you or your feelings. This idea, although contradictory in terms, is what led me to be the confident person I've always been. I know that you've never seen another one like me, ever. But this has never made me feel better or less than anyone else, because everyone is one of a kind. I just do me the best.